Hello and welcome aboard. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and we've got another kit review for you today of another 1/350th scale aircraft carrier. Now, if you watch my channel regularly, you will know that a little while back I did a review of this in 4 parts, and this is the massive USS Gerald R. Ford CVN 78 from Trumpeter. It's a brand new kit, extremely hard to come by in the UK. Jadlam had a few. And they've sold out. As far as I know, no one else in the UK has had any. They've got some more coming in. You can still go to the Jadlam website and pre-order for £299.95, or you can go to various websites and order and pre-order. So yeah, so Gerald R. Ford, massive model, beautiful aircraft carrier, the newest aircraft carrier. Is it the newest aircraft carrier in the world? It's certainly America's newest. So 78, CVN 78, and she's out there doing her stuff. Now then, so we got that one, and I started looking around at other aircraft carriers, and one that caught my eye was the Russian aircraft carrier Kuznetsov. Now, some of you will already know stories about Kuznetsov. If you don't, I would seriously suggest you go and search YouTube for some videos. There are, you can sort of tell by the, the cover sheet on the video how it's going to play. There's a very serious one by Ward Carroll, which just gives you the life of Kuznetsov, facts, figures. And then there's others that put it across a slightly different way, shall we say. But I saw this and thought, I want to get it because, as you can see, the box is nearly the same size. In fact, if I stand it up next to Gerald R. Ford, you can see there's Kuznetsov and there's Gerald R. Ford. Okay, so you can see it's only a couple of inches longer, the Gerald R. Ford box. Amazingly, Gerald R. Ford displaces 100,000 tons, and this one displaces 59,000 tons. So here we go. This is Kuznetsov, and this video is going to be a review of this kit. USSR Admiral Kuznetsov aircraft carrier. Okay, and I think she's a beautiful looking ship. I always like the Soviet ships because of the difference, with, you can see on the side here, you have the red decking and stuff. It's always very interesting. Quite often their missile launchers will have great missile launchers all along the deck at a 30-degree angle or whatever, and they're quite interesting to look at, much like their aircraft. I find all of the Russian Soviet military equipment very interesting because it's so different and generally so beaten up and battered. Of course, Kuznetsov, one of the beauties about her, you could see her from 50 miles away because she's an oil burner. So she burns oil, she leaves massive plumes of black smoke. Apparently you can't spend too long on the deck because the particles of smoke in the air will affect your health. Certainly it blackens your uniform and blackens your skin. Apparently it's just a disgusting place to be on the deck of this, but I doubt if anyone really knows because she hasn't really done much of late. So what I want to do is get over to the bench and have a look in the box. I've also got this to show you as well. This is the the Photo-etched update set for this kit from Tom's Model Works. As you can see, that's White Ensign Models. Now, White Ensign Models was a British company. I believe the Photo-etched is still made in the UK. So basically, if you're in the UK, you're buying Photo-etched that's been made here, sent to California, and then sent back. So there you go. But the postage is reasonable. Anything you buy from White Ensign Models, the UK postage is $4.50, and as you can see there, they've paid $9.71, so I'd imagine prices will be going up soon. But yeah, I think this is pretty much, there's a Russian aftermarket set out there, which I should imagine is extremely hard to get hold of, especially at the moment. But this one is White Ensign Models, available in America, and available on the internet all over the world, and it's very, very nice. So we're going to have a look at that as well. Without further ado, let's get to the bench have a look at the instructions, have a look at the kit. You've probably noticed that the box is fairly damaged. Unfortunately, the box got damaged in transport, and as a result, I got an absolutely amazing price on this kit. I did buy it. I didn't. It hasn't been given to me, but I did get it from Jadlam, and they have actually mentioned that there may be. Watch this space. I will tell you at some point on some video or something. But there may be some sort of thing coming up where they can do you a deal on this kit should you want to get one. But watch this space for that. If they email me while this video's going, I'll mention it in this video. But I've asked the question. It was suggested and then it went quiet. So I've just asked the question, is that deal still on? But at the moment you can get this at Jadlam for about 145 quid. There's a few about on eBay. I think Dave Coley's got it for like 136 or something. But you know, it's not a cheap model, but then ships never are. But when you compare, you know, 145 quid to 349 quid for the Gerald R. Ford, you know, it's a big old aircraft carrier, and it's a cheap way in. Of course, the other option is the Tamiya USS Enterprise. That's also a cheap way in at about 130, 140 pounds. I've got one of those at Enterprise with all the extras and everything. I need to do a review on it. But anyway, let's have a look at this one and get over here to the bench and see what's going on. Okay, we're at the bench. So we can see here the massive size of this box. It's absolutely huge. We got some details here. You can also see the crushed end here. I'm hoping the kit's all right. They Matt at Jadlam told me he checked it out and it was absolutely fine, but I haven't seen it myself yet. So we may see a bit of damage that's been missed or whatever. If there is, I'm sure Jadlam will help me out. Anyway, so the length is 872 millimeters of this kit. The width is 249, and it has a total plastic parts count of 755. I will check that because generally these are wrong. I saw a review on CV11 and it said on the box, I can't remember, say it said 1,600. There was actually only about 1,200. And you know that on the Gerald R. Ford it says 2,200 plus. Yes, 2,200 plus parts on 85 sprues in that kit. And the actual parts count was 2,375 if you include photo-etched. So if you include plastic parts, it's, you know, I'll check that out during this review. So this kit actually has no photo-etch as well, funnily enough. And just quickly also on the Gerald R. Ford, 3D Wild have now announced a hangar deck set for it. So it'll be a full 3D printed hangar deck and a new 3D printed island. So that'll be interesting to see. I've approached them and it looks like they might be sending me a review sample. I don't know. If they don't, I'll probably buy it anyway. So here we go. So looking across the box, you can see here, typical Trumpeter, you have to be a little bit careful. What you see on the box is not what you get. You don't get any of these vehicles in the kit, as far as I know. But you get 6. They call them Su-27Ks. Surely they're Su-33s. I need to check that out. You've got some Yak 141s, you've got some MiG-29Ks and some Ka-27 helicopters. So yeah, all good. Right. We can see you've got the lovely, interesting red decking and everything, and the interesting deck marking lines. And you can see she's got the ramp on the bow. They didn't have the technology reliably to do catapults, so they actually went for the ramp to get the you know, the attitude of the aircraft in the correct sort of plane to take off, and that worked great. But then when you've got the little Yak 141s, which are a vertical takeoff aircraft, they actually have 3 engines. They have 2 engines for vertical takeoff, and they have 1 engine for forward motion. If you want to use vertical takeoff, you can't put any load on them because they can't take off with any load. And because they've only got the 1 forward motion engine, they don't have enough power to get enough speed up to use the ramp. So quite sort of useless. In her earlier days, I believe she carried Su-25s as well. But that's something, if you want to go accuracy, you have to do lots of research, because no doubt colour changes and deck colour changes and all sorts going on over the years. So moving on to the back of the box, you can see on here again we've got all this crush damage. It's like she's been used as somebody as a step to repair their bloody windows or something. Looking on the side of the box here, we have side-on image. As you can see, going along, we have a white waterline, which is also very interesting. It just looks different, I think. I'm not sure about colours. If anyone can help me with Russian ship colours, I would be most grateful. And on here you can see, if I could get it, yes I can get that in there. You can freeze frame and have a read, and if you can work out what they're trying to say, you're a better man than me. Whoa. So there we go. Basically, Kuznetsov was laid down in April 82. I've got all this from Wikipedia, but on the same page they also say 1983, so it was either 82 or 83. She was launched in December 85. She was commissioned in January 91. Current up to date, she's actually been under repair since 2017. So yeah, she's been in dry dock or whatever, under repair since 2017. I believe she was in dry dock and the dry dock sank and one of the cranes went through the deck. She's had multiple fires. On her first mission, on day one, she lost her ability to make water. So it's just been a, if you watch the videos, you will not believe how sort of unsuccessful this ship has been. She spent a lot of time in Syria during that war, and also, I mean, she was destined to have bad luck from the start. She was originally named Riga, and then she was changed to Leonid Brezhnev, then Tbilisi, and then in 1990 she was named Admiral Kuznetsov. It's actually about a 17-barrel name, but Admiral Kuznetsov for short. So yeah, there was 2 ships made of the class, and the second ship was sold to China, and China spent a few years rebuilding it, and she was called the Variag, or Variag, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, and she's now called Liaoning in Chinese. Okay, Trumpeter also make that kit in 1/350th scale using the basis of this one, but it's got a lot of extra parts, and it also has photo etch. Something that I did think was very weird on this one, the kit was actually first sold in 2005. They've got here copyright 2017. I'm not quite sure why. Trumpeter don't normally do that, but there we go. And then coming over the box here, you can see on the side here, upside down, we have some images of the actual model. You can see the box all creased up. We have some images of the actual model there, all built and painted, looking lovely. And then we've got an image there of the deck. You can see that beautiful red decking and everything looking lovely. I'd also like to know, please, the mix for that, because it's not quite rust, is it? It's not like a hull red. It's so I think the kit instructions say orange, I think. Anyway, we'll have a look inside the box. So yeah, we're like 20 minutes into the video, are we? And I'm just finally opening the bloody box. Sorry guys, we'll be waffling. So typical Trumpeter sort of packaging. We got the instructions lead on the top here. We've got the decals on the top as well, which is a nice touch, not to know they're not on the bottom, getting all damaged and everything. So we've got 2 sprues there. We've got another 2 sprues there, and another 2 sprues there. So that's 4, 5. So there's 5 sprues there. 6, 7, 8. So 8 sprues make the ship. 8 sprues plus the deck and the hull make the ship. We've got a box of goodies here. I'm guessing this is going to be all aircraft. These airfix there. These Trumpeter boxes are always very tight. So you can see, yeah, we've got aircraft in here, so we'll have a look at those in a minute. Those rotors look very, very nice, must they? We've got folded rotors as well. We've got those little yaks there. I wonder if we get, yes, we do get the option to have folded wings. These Su-33s, are they Su-27s or are they Su-33s? But they look very nice. We've got clear canopies, black parts, and lovely panel lines on there as well. So looking very nice. So we'll have a look at those in a minute. Very nice indeed. So we've got the packaging here, which is all very nice. We've got the deck there with the ramp on the front. That looks all undamaged, which is nice. We've got the main deck there. You can see she's a big old bird. Big old bird, big old boat. There you've got the main deck. You can see there's my hand. You can see it's fairly wide. And we've got all the actual deck lines are all engraved in there for you to mask off and paint rather than use decals. So that's nice. So we've also got a box of bits and pieces here. we've got some more sprues in there. This is another tight fitting box. What's in there? Oh, this is the, that's if you go for waterline, that's the base you put in. Typical Trumpeter, so this hasn't got a single piece hull like the modern kits have. So that can go back in there. And then we've got these end packages here. There's no foam in either end, so that's a bit of a disappointment. Maybe the hull is damaged. We'll have a look. Matt from Jadlam is a modeller himself, so he knows what he's looking for, so I'm sure everything's going to be absolutely fine. But without further ado, let's get this out of the way and have a look at the instructions. Okay, so the instructions are typical Trumpeter style. Kit number's 5606. Typical sort of thing here. We've got some health and safety stuff, read all that, decal application, and we've got our icons. We've got our colour callouts, we'll have a look at that in a minute. So going into here, we have our sprue callouts. As I said, in a minute I will tell you the actual part count. So we have our sprue callouts here. So we've got the hull, we've got the lower hull, and then we've got the waterline plates. So I'm not sure whether you put them in if you add that hull or what you do. And then we have the actual main deck there. So the deck is split into three, which is unfortunate. We'll have three seams to deal with. There we go. And then we've got here, we've got some bridge detail and everything. There's our nose, bulbous bow, should I say. And then here we've got some, that looks like that looks like ramps, and that's hangar doors. There's no hangar deck detail in this kit, so I'm not sure if there's any aftermarket for it or if you scratch build it yourself. But with this one, I think we'll probably just go for an out-of-the-box build. And also I want to say as well, talking about out-of-box builds, Ron Culvery, the model ship, he's back, and he's returned from his operation, which went very, very well, and he's looking very, very fit and healthy and happy. So and he says that when he sits still, he's not in any pain. So obviously he's been cut about, he's had surgery, so I'm not going to go into what he's had. Yeah, he's looking very, very well. Great to see him back. And he mentioned Dottie a lot in his first video as well, which he put out last night. So there we go. So sprue callouts. So we've got some detailed bits and pieces here. Some aircraft, helicopters. There's our stand. And we've got this here, which is blanked out with a white sticker. As you can see there, it's just a white sticker on there. So what's that covering up, you ask? I hear you say, well, here we are. I've been to Scalemates and printed out the instructions. So oh, that's something else I meant to pick up on as well. It's the USS Admiral Kuznetsov Aircraft Carrier. Right, it's covering these metal parts here. So if you've got one of the older kits, you have these metal brackets that go across the hull, and then you have nuts and bolts to actually bolt it all together, and it's to support the sides of the hull and stop them flopping about. What they've actually done, so you can see here, into the instructions, the first step is to take these metal brackets and slot them in and then bolt everything together to keep the hull in shape. Well, what they've done, which I think is a great idea and a much better idea, is they've got a thick sprue running down the centre, so it's all supported by that. As long as they got it right and it matches the lower hull, I think that's a much better idea than having those metal brackets. So there we go. So starting off in the instructions, we're going to build up the elevators and add them into the hull. Very strange build sequence going on here, guys. I can tell you that from looking at those. But we do have a very strange build sequence. So we're adding these little wings here onto the sides of the hull. These are parts of the deck. They are, yeah, they're here on the sides. They're sort of lower than the deck, but they're probably for putting ammunition and stuff on. We should be able to see from the colour callouts. Yeah, there's something on there, searchlights or guns or something. Very well defended, this ship, and also they carried missiles as well, which is very unusual for an aircraft carrier. They actually come out of the deck. Yep, believe it or not. As I say, go and watch the videos on YouTube. There's some fantastic documentaries all about her. So building up these units on the side, adding these pieces on the side, and then we've got these internal areas here in the sides of the ship. And then we're working on the fantail. It's always called the fantail on the back of an aircraft carrier. I don't know why. Somebody told me in the comments on my Gerald R. Ford. And then we've got these vertical strips here on the back, same as Gerald R. Ford, and I don't know what they're for. I think they're buffers, actually, somebody did tell me. And then we've got this little ramp going on the side with the lifeboats or ship's boats or whatever they are. You've got these little extensions going on the sides of the hull. So bearing in mind we're adding all of this and we still haven't done the bottom of the hull yet. So we're adding all the deck and everything. So you've got your 3 deck pieces going down, you've got these trims going around the edges, and you've got your ramps going in there, or your lifts, whatever you want to call them. And then, bearing in mind we still haven't added the lower hull, we're turning the ship over, adding all this lovely detail underneath here. Hopefully it's not full of ejector pin marks. And then we've got some more boats there going together. So you're going to make 2 of that one, I'm guessing, and 1 of that one. Yeah, 1, and 2. So they're going in there. And then we've got some guns here going in the sides. They're like a phalanx type thing. CADS 1 they're called. So there we go. And then we've got some antennas here. You've got 17 of those. You can either have them up or down. Very old school that, isn't it? It's like HMS Art Royal from 1940 had them. And then we've got the crane here going together. I did notice in the White Ensign Models instructions, this piece here should be vertical at the back. It shouldn't be let down. In the White Ensign, you get all the chain gear and everything for that. We've got a few little ladders and greeblies and stuff going on. More guns and greeblies and antenna. All these lifeboats here, or life rafts, should I say. Again, with these, you've got to separate all of these, and you put them into separate PE racks with the White Ensign set, should you be that mental. And then we've got the ramps, what are they called? Yeah, you know, deflectors. So you have them either down or raised. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, they're the same part. So it's the same part down or raised, and you've got this structure here. I think in the White Ensign set you get detail parts to go in there as well. And then we've got this little officer's room there. That's going to go on the stern. I think, yes, going on there, and that's where they can watch the aircraft come into land, I believe. And then here we've got some missile salvos there. You can see the circles in the top. That's where the missiles will go from. So it carries surface to air, sea to air, and sea to sea missiles as well. So and of course it's got the guns and the launchers and everything. It's very well defended. We're starting on the island here. So we've got the main parts of the island going together. Got the bridge here. You've got separate parts of the bridge, so that'll be nicely moulded. I did see a review of this kit on Model Warships, and it's all the way through the review it talks about crisp moulding, so we're hoping for nice stuff. And then the rest of the bridge going together here. Is this the right way? That's the right way up. It kind of looks upside down. It's a very weird sort of Lexington style bridge. It's very long. With all that lovely red decking on it, it's very pretty. And then we've got all this assembly going together here. We've got all photo etch to replace that. Notice in the kit there is no photo etch. Very unusual for a model ship, but there is no photo etch at all. And then all these greeblies, all these antenna, all these bits and pieces dressing up the island, as we can see. And then we've got all this detail going together here. So we've got an island actually built up. I think that might be a good way to build the model, is build the island first, and then that's all done, and then you just got the hull to do. Because by the time you get to the island, you might be burnt out with all the work on the hull. So you can see now we've got all these lovely detailed antennas sticking out. We've got all the guns, all the detail on there, and now we're going to start working on the bottom. And that don't make sense to me. So if I were you, I would do step 1. If you're thinking about building one of these, my advice would be do this, okay? In fact, don't even do this. Just go straight to there if you're going full hull and glue the hull on. Now what's not clear in here, as I say, I printed off the instructions, so I've had a sort of preview. What's not clear is if you actually add that before you add this, or if you add that or the bottom of the hull. So that's something we'll have to find out. So there we go. So then we've got all the propeller gear and everything going on. We've got a couple of little pieces there for the universal stand. You've got the bow section going together. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. Doing this after you've done all of that. You can imagine, you know, you've got a little bit of filling to do or a bit of sanding. You've got all these antennas sticking out. It's just, whoever thought of that? Crazy. So we've got assembly of the KA-27s, the little Helix helicopters. They're beautiful. They're so ugly. They're beautiful. They always remind me of crebensis, the little crebensis, the tropical fish. They look just like them. So there we go. So we've got the folded option and the extended option. So that's very nice. And then we've got the SU27Ks, Su-27, sorry. I'm sure there were Su-33s, but anyway, whatever. Maybe in the early days it was Su-27Ks and then 33s came after. And then we've got MiG-29s going together. And then we've got Yak 141s, those things there. I ought to get the Hobby Boss 148 scale kit really to build, didn't I? Just to see what it's like. It was their version of the Harrier and it wasn't really as good. Yeah, so we've got 4 of the Helix, we've got 4 of the Yaks, we've got 2 MiGs and 6 Su-27/33s. So that's cool. And then we'll have all the decals and everything for them as well. So there's our instructions. The colour callouts, a single-sided A3 sheet. So that's very nice. We've got the old type camouflage there rather than the eggplant colour. This is in the blue and grey, as is the Su. See, they're saying Su-33 here. Maybe a Su-27K is a Su-33. Now these colours here I wouldn't trust at all. For example, they're calling out hang on, H17, which is hull red. Okay, that's fine. And then for these decks, H14, orange. I think not. I need help with these colours, please, guys. If anyone can tell me deck, hull, bottom, deck. Okay, so deck red, deck grey, sides of the ship and the bottom. From the pictures I've seen, it looks like in the early days she was a lot darker than she is now. So I don't know. So we've got decals here. I'm not going to open these because they're sealed. But we basically have all our deck lines here, all the parking bays for the aircraft, and then we've got all our stars there for the actual aircraft themselves. So you can see there's lots of decals on there, and they all look very nice. Trumpeter decals are normally pretty good at going down. I would suggest painting all of this rather than using the decals. So there we go. Right, so let's have a look at some plastic. I'm going to start off with this little box, which is something you wouldn't normally do. This little box has Su-33s, MiG-29s, Yak 141s, and our little helicopters. So let's have a look. We'll get this light on now we've finished with the instructions. Have a look at these and we'll see what they're like. So these are cleverly moulded, or they're moulded separately and clipped together. I think they're moulded separately and clipped together, but you've got black exhaust nozzles and undercarriage and nose gear, a clear canopy, and then this is bloody oily. You can see my fingers are shining, really oily. Blimey. So yeah, you can see we've got the actual main body of the MiG-29 there. The intakes there all looking correctly shaped. They look very nice indeed. And then we've got the tail planes and the wings here, a bit of flash on there, but nothing you can't scrape off. So you can have the wings extended or folded. So we're getting 2 of those. So that's our MiG-29Ks. K is basically, if you see any Russian aircraft with a suffix K, then it means it's the naval version. I think I need to put a new blade in this knife, don't I? So I'm going to do what I say never do. I'm going to slide one out rather than have to put them all away. Just make sure if you do that, pull it up and out. Don't just slide it out because you'll break it. But these are our Su-33s, one of my favourite aircraft on the planet. Absolutely gorgeous. So we've got the engine intakes there. So we've got hollow intakes on them, which is really nice. We've got the black exhausts. Exhausts are closed. We've got undercarriage there. We've got the fins at the front there. And then we've got tail planes. Well, no, these are wingtips, sorry. No. They're tail planes. I guess, yeah, they fold as well, don't they? And then there's your fins, and then there's your wings. So, yeah, beautiful. And these are the little strakes that go underneath. Very, very pretty, beautiful looking aircraft. Nice to see they've got clear canopies. For those of you that aren't experienced in the world of these aircraft. The later ones are either moulded all grey or all clear. They went away from this individual sprue thing. So here's the Yak 141. You can see again on there we've got lovely panel line detail on there, which is very crisp. We've got some flash on these. Again, we've got a clear canopy, black undercarriage, but you've got the wings folded as well. Tail planes. Is that tail? Is that? That's either tail planes or that's tail planes, and that's fins or that's fins. And we've got engine intakes there. A little bit flashy, but you know they're 2004. They're 21 years old now, so obviously not sure when this kit was actually made. But you know, even if it was made in 17, as it says on the box, it was the tooling was still 13 years old then. And if you think, you know, if they're supplying you 4 of those with every kit they sell, plus you can buy them individually on their own as well, you know. Here we go. This is one of your more common ones, all clear, and then you've got the undercarriage and the rotors and everything in black. But the thing to do here is paint the interior colour first, otherwise when you look through the window you'll see the colour of the outside. Don't forget guys, if you want to build this in a different period of time from the instructions, there will be aftermarket you can get, so you can paint your aircraft in the eggplant if you want to, that lovely sort of dark bluey green colour. I've actually got a Trumpeter 1/32 scale MiG-29 which instructs you to paint it in that colour. As you can see in this one, we've got the green and grey camo for the MiG, and then we've got the blue and grey for these two, and then we've got white and grey for that one. So that's like a white and blue, isn't it, on there? So yeah, get all your colours sorted, and then for your period that you're building, go from there. Okay, so into this box, we'll just grab the sprues as they come. So here we have 2 sprue Fs. These 2 sprue Fs? Yes, 2 sprue Fs. Blimey, they're oily. They are really, really greasy, these sprues. So we've got some lovely antenna here. Little bit flashy, but nothing to moan about. You've got a seam line to clean up anyway. Oh, it looks like no. I thought maybe that was some equipment. I don't think we get any deck equipment. So we've got all our buoys here, which have all got to be cut off if you're using the photo-etched set. We've got some antenna here, radar bits and pieces, some guns there. And this is all very crisp. As I say, we've got some more guns there. So she's very well armed, this thing, including missiles. Very, very well armed. You wouldn't want to mess with it, really. And then we've got here, there's another 2 sprue Fs, so I won't bother opening those. And then here we have sprue E. I thought I saw we had 4 of these, or maybe it was 4 Fs. So sprue E, we've got 2 of that. It's 2 of these, yes, because these are the ones with the lifts on. So we've got some lovely detail on there. These are the hangar doors. So there's probably an internal and external, or maybe these are optional parts if you want to show it with the hangar open. But I don't know why you would. There's nothing in there. And then you've got the actual lifts there, the ramps, whatever you want to call them. Just moulded details. As I say, there's no photo etch in this kit at all. We have the propeller blades there, which are gorgeous. They are lovely. They're also very large, aren't they? They're big. Got some lifeboats here, some more missile launcher things here, more lifeboats, rudder, more rafts there. We've got a crane or some sort of stack there, anchor here, some more bits of radar. As I say, a lot of this stuff that goes on top is replaced by the photo-etched set. As I say, we will have a look at that in a minute, because it's well worth a look. And I think for what it costs, well worth getting, because it doesn't go mad. It just covers, you know, all of the sort of stuff you get on here, all the greeblies and that. They're all going to look lovely in photo etch rather than moulded styrene. So here we've got sprue D, is this? Yes. Sprue D, and this is lovely. We have, these are the parts for the stand, to make the stand applicable to this ship. We've got some catwalks there. We've got that little lookout area there, where the flight controller stands at the back. The guy landing the plane, I think. Or, I don't know, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm assuming that's what it is. Got parts of the crane there by the look of it. There's the back of the crane. You've got the pulleys going over the top. This all gets replaced with Photo-etched with the white enzyme set. So yeah, very nice indeed. We've got the propeller shafts there, which are all broken and bowed and everything. They want to be replaced, but they are very, very fine, aren't they? Rather than the usual big fat chunky things you get. But in fact, what size are they? In case you want to get this model, you want to get yourself some rod in stock so you can replace them. They are 0.9, so yeah, you could get away with 1mm rod, or even 0.8 if you've got some. But they measured 0.91, so but there we go. I'm liking this a lot. It's what I like about it is it's looking very simple. You know, when you compare it to the Gerard Ford, this is looking very simple indeed. Where's that come from? There's a hair. A long hair. Probably from a Chinese person. There's another one there. Handy for a bit of rigging, that one. Right, so here we have, oh, just as I thought, this is the detail underneath. This is all the structure detail underneath, so if you look up under the sides of the flight deck. But as you can see, it's covered in ejector pin marks. So that's going to be a nightmare to sort out. You've got these little grills here. They've got the ejector pin marks on the flat, so they'll just sand out nicely. And then we've got part of the side there. We've got these are the slide where the lifts go up and down. We've got a lifeboat there. This is going around. This is like a walkway, I think. It's going around the front of the deck here. See it there. And here you can see the doors for the missile launchers. And there's our blast doors, whatever you call them. So that's nice. There's a catwalk there. That's got no ejector pin marks on the front or the back. But, yeah, it's a shame these have got the ejector pin marks in them. You could actually, what you could get away with is just getting some paint and just put an equal amount of paint in each block and just let it level out and flood it. I mean, you're not really going to be looking up under there anyway, but you won't, if you certainly don't want to see ejector pin marks. And the top has some shrinkage on it. You can see here there's some shrinkage there, but you know, if you're worried about that kind of thing, easy to fill and sand flat, or even just sand it flat. And then here, this is our last bag of sprues, believe it or not. So we've got a massive aircraft carrier in 1/350th, and all we've got is what, 4 or 5 bags of sprues. Incredible. So here we have, these are big old parts. There's our lovely big bulbous bow. Nice to see they made that in 2 halves, so it's not full of sink marks and stuff. That looks like it's been cut off in the factory and added. There we go. So that's very nice indeed. We've got the, oh dear, ejector pin city here. So they're going to have to go. Look at them. They're massive. Sorry about that, guys. There's another kit been delivered. So another kit for review, one you'll like. So yeah, we got ejector pin city here. So I'm not sure if all these sort of pontoons are visible from underneath, but we've got a lot of work to do to get rid of them. It's also, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you look on here, you have a little raised edge on there, so don't just get in there with the sander. You have to be careful to sand that way. Get rid of them. They're unfortunate, but never mind. That's what you get when you get older kits. And then here we have, these are the sides of the actual superstructure of this island, and I must say they are very, very beautifully moulded. You can see here we've got the eyebrows, and then we've got portholes that are open as well. Please don't tell me they're not called portholes. I call them portholes. And on here you can see we've got, again, we've got some very, very deep ejector pin marks. So deep, they're coming through. And I don't know if you can see that on there. I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a light. I want to show you just how thin this plastic is, because I can see daylight through there. Look at that, guys. Look how thin that is. Those ejector pin marks are so deep. So yeah, we'll have to, you could also see them, they're on the surface, so I think it's that thin. I don't think you get away with just sanding it. I think they'll have to be filled from behind and then sanded. I don't think you'll go through, but I think they'll be so thin that with a coat of matte paint they probably won't even show, but it is very nice. You've got the main sides there, there's a radar, there's a forward facing one there, there's one each side as well, just like Gerald R. Ford. And these are receivers, aren't they? But yeah, very nice. These are very, I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they're very similar to what they have for the, I think it's for the missile launching, isn't it? And there we go. Interesting to see that part there. So this is sprue A. So sprue A is basically that. I can't see. Oh, this was with that one, wasn't it? This was with sprue B, which is that one. Okay, it's there. It's there. It looks like it's actually been cut off. Oh no, it hasn't. It's been snapped. It's snapped off. Okay. Emergency over. Talking rubbish again. So there we go. So that's all our sprues. So now we're on to the deck. So I'm going to get myself tidied up and then we'll have a look at the big parts. Alright, so I've got everything out ready. I've done a quick part count as well, looking at the actual sprue callouts and added it all up. And the box front says it's 755 parts. It's actually 846. So they were 100 out. Have to be very careful opening this bag because, as you can see, it is right up to the edge. So be careful not to actually remove any of our deck. Although, having said that, that catwalk around the front there is replaced with Photo-etched with the white enzyme set, which, as I keep saying, we're going to have a look at in a minute. So we have, this is the rear part of the deck and the front part of the deck. As you can see, we've got the ramp there, which is lovely. Very interesting to look at. I would imagine that we will soon be getting a British aircraft carrier from Trumpeter, I would imagine. And then here we've got the aft deck. Now there's, I'm guessing they are just injection marks there, where the plastic has been injected. I'm hoping it's not pins that have been broken off. If it is, we'll just draw them out and replace them, because they will help vastly with the location of everything. But it's only a 2004. I don't know why it says 17 on the side of the box. We can see here where the tool's been repaired. I've seen a lot of people do reviews and they think their plastic parts have been sanded when they see this sort of thing here. It's not. It's where the tool's been sanded. They've repaired the tool, or just removed some raised edges, or just even, you know, the ejector pins. You can see the ejector pins here are quite deep as well. This is ejector pin city, this model. But that's how it was back then. And I'm happy to say that Trumpeter have listened, and you know, they have got their act really together when it comes to ejector pins. Looking at this, actually, sorry, you can see on the back here we've got this catwalk along the, or safety net. I keep calling them catwalks. Got this safety net along the back there, which is nicely moulded, and you can see that in the deck we've got all the markings there moulded on for the helicopter landing areas and all the stripes for the actual main runway itself. So that's all very nice. So we'll turn that over so these go back to back. And then on the bow, you see there's some missile launching bays there. Okay. We've got all these holes here for the antenna to go in. We got some more missile launching bays there. So yeah, you can. And the other beauty of this is because it's Russian. It was built in Ukraine actually, so it's not specific. It's not effectively Russian. It's Soviet. It was actually built in Ukraine, and then when they had the independence in 1991, the Russian fleet sort of took it and said, "It's ours. It's not yours," and the rest is history. I wonder if they regret they did that now. But anyway, so you can see we have the main flight deck itself. You can see it's very wide indeed. It's actually where's my 12-inch rule? It is nearly 200 millimeters there. In fact, it's even wider here, isn't it? No, it's not. Its widest point is there. It's about 198 millimeters wide. So and that's before we start adding stuff on. So you can see here there's the huge island. It's massive, the island on this. And you can see we've got the lines there for catching the aircraft as they come in. Or again, all of this detail moulded on, so it's giving you positions of your aircraft parking and everything, and where your decals are going to go. But as I say, I'd seriously recommend painting it. There we are. Perhaps paint it, give it a good clear coat, fill in all these holes, fill in all these lines first. Or maybe even just spray it with a good thick coat of black and then sand it all off so you end up with the black lines, and I'll show you where to paint it. But whatever. Perhaps paint the colours first, mask them, and then spray the deck grey. There's a million different ways you can do this. You've got this track going around here, and inside there is where it's going to be that lovely orangey red colour. You can have a couple of aircraft. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. So you could have a couple of Su-33s here, a MiG and a Su-33 there, a couple of Su-33s back there. Sort of spread them around a bit. And you can actually buy additional aircraft as well. Again, ejector pin city underneath. But depending on how much is visible and how fussy you are. We do have raised detail on here as well. These little pimples on here are raised. So no doubt they're deck lights to guide them in at night. On their first mission, they went out and they had to fly 23 hours a day, I think it was. They'd constantly have aircraft in the sky. And where they were, there was only an hour of daylight a day. So these are our hull plates for the, maybe they're thick, but these are the plates if you're going to do the water line. I don't know if you need these or not for doing the actual main hull. If you don't, you've got some nice plastic stock there. It's very thick, about 2 mil thick, I think. And then here we have the main hull of the ship. You can see here, here's the main hull with the bulbous bow is taken out, obviously, because it's a separate piece. So we have this wire holding it together. The front one fell off when I took it out of the box. So that might be the damage that was done. So we've got this here. Use my knife to cut it, if it will cut it, because it's as blunt as a bloody fingernail. There we go. Right, so we'll take all that out of there. Come out, wire. Go. You are not required. Right, so put that over there. So we've got the main hull here. And as you can see, there's that lovely lifted bow, which looks very, very nice indeed. I think it's a very, very pretty ship, this one. You've also got all these, I think they're portholes. They're all beautifully moulded. I think a couple of these might need re-drilling because they're moulded straight. So obviously you've got oval portholes. Some down here very low. I can't believe they're portholes down there. They definitely are because they've got the eyebrows over them. You can see rather than just being a narrow indentation, they're very deep. So if you do want to drill them out and light it up, whatever, you've got a really good guide for your drills. And here's all the solid sprue. And as you can see here, this is where the metal brackets used to go. They would slot into that slot and then you'd screw them in there. What they've done here is this great big thick sprue, which I think is a far better idea. It's a lot more rigid, as long as it will fit the hull nicely. So I'm guessing this will fit straight onto here. Got sprues and all sorts in the way over here. guessing this will fit onto here. It sort of sits, let's do it upside down, it'll be easier. That's going to sit into there. Yeah, it's a very nice fit. You can hear it click in. So yeah, they got that right. That's going to take some clamping and everything. Quite why in the instructions they tell you to do this last is beyond me, because as you can see here, you're definitely going to have some seam sealing to do, and some sanding as well. So that's all good. But yeah, you really want to get this clamped down to something and get it all together. So obviously you don't use that. You don't use that other deck if you're going to use this one, because this has a recess in it and this has a recess in it. If you use that other deck, just looking on here, oh hang on, maybe you do. Just looking on here, my knife, as I say, it's not at all clear in the instructions. If you've built one of these, please let me know what you did, because it's, as I say, the instructions aren't clear at all. We won't bother with the stern, we'll look at the bow. But that's obviously going to go up because you've got these cutouts for the screws to go in. Yeah, so that's going to sit in there. Yeah, okay, so you don't use this. Right, so we've got a load of plastic stock. That is bloody thick. I think it's about 2 mil thick, isn't it? 3 mil. 3 mil thick. So if you want some 3 mil plastic card in red, there you go and get one of these. That's probably a £5 worth of plastic card there. Right, so yeah, that's so you don't need them, so that'll glue straight into there. So that would be, for building this, that would be my first job, and then do the bulbous bow before we do anything else. And then that's that done. Then we've also got a big seam line along there to come out. We've also got a seam line there where it's been slide moulded, and there's another seam line there, and there's seam lines there around the bilge keels. So yeah, it's all very nice. It looks very lovely, and I do actually think the Admiral Kuznetsov has a very pretty stern. That radius stern there, it's lovely, isn't it? It's very, very pretty. So there we go. So other than the stand, which I won't bother getting out, we've got the stand there and we've got the badge label Kuznetsov. That's all flexible, it's like rubber. So there we go. Handy to build the model on should you want to. So that, my friends, is that. So that's been a review of the kit. Now if you want to stick around, I'm now going to do a review of the White Ensign models aftermarket set for this. If you've had enough and you don't want to see any photo etch, then I will see you soon. Thank you for watching, and if you do want to stick around and you'll see some photo etch. Okay, so before we look at the White Ensign stuff, I got some great news. I have just had an email from Matt. It's currently 13:03 on the 17th of April 2025, and this came at 12:46. So for your viewers, they can buy this kit for a reduced price of $115.99 instead of $145. Other places in the UK are £150 plus. Yes, I can confirm that. And it's only valid until the 1st of May. It will be a pre-order with 2 weeks ETA to get stock. You can use the code Admiral Nige, ADMIRALNIGE in capital letters when you check out. And they also have launching tomorrow morning, so that's the 18th of April, so that's Good Friday. They're doing they're doing double J points launching tomorrow morning. So for the whole bank holiday weekend, everyone's points will be worth more, making it easier for all customers to earn a bigger discount on future orders. Great time to pick up a kit, pre-order, or top up the paints. There we go, there's just a bit of sales gimmick there. So yeah, $115.99 instead of he said 140, I think it's 145 it is, or 143 or something on the website. But yeah, use that code Admiral Nige at checkout and you will get $115.99 instead of So bargain price for a lovely kit. So I've put it all away. I've got my instructions here to go back in the box, and the decals, the beautiful decal sheet, whatever you want to call it, and also the colour callouts. So that can all go away. Let's have a look at the white enzyme set. Now this is gorgeous, okay? It's going to take some work with the instructions because they've used terminology of Russian naval parts that I don't understand. So I have actually printed out these instructions as well. I've got them here rather than get this out. But you can see that basically in here you're getting 2 sheets of photo etch. So you can see on here there's 1 sheet, and that's a big old sheet of photo etch. That is, what's that? 285 by 195, and then there's a smaller one there which is 143 by 72. Okay, so there's lots and lots of photo etch on there, but not so much that it's actually going to drive you crazy. But you can see you've got all your radar arrays and everything on here. There's some pulleys there, or some wheels, whatever. There's little bits and pieces. If you remember in the instructions, there's one area where you've got lots of little pieces coming on the top there. You can see there's this circular thing on top of the ship, and there's all these little pieces coming off it. That's all in here. So yeah, very nice indeed. And then we've got parts for the crane as well. There's cables and stuff in here for the crane. You can see we've got lots of steps, tripods, and there's, if you remember, I pointed out that plastic part that's replaced. There's your nets, your safety nets going around the deck. There's the one around the bow, so you cut the plastic one off. All these here, these are all the racks for the life buoys, okay, or the life rafts. And then we've also got single lines wherever they are. I can't see where they are now, but there are single lines. There they go. There's your crane pulleys, okay. But there's also bits and pieces for the catch wires as well. We've got some railings around here, lots and lots of railings. These are kind of generic. You cut your own length. They're not made to length. But yeah, very nice indeed. So well, really with PE sets, the best thing to look at is the instructions, because this will actually show you what's going on. Why have I got 2 sets here? I think that's just rubbish. So here we have, this is the White Enzyme models PE 3537. They also do an air wing set for this, so you can get that one as well. And they also do deck equipment, Russian deck equipment, so you can really dress your ship up should you want to. And if you're getting that bargain price from Jadlam, then you know this is basically going to be free. I think this was about £30, £40 all in. I can't remember now. Let me go and have a look actually. Yeah, it's $65 currently, which is about £49 I think currently. So yeah, I thought it was a bit cheaper than that, but never mind. But yeah, I think it's well worth having, because as I say, it's all the detail on there that's really going to make it pop, rather than have all those thick plastic moulded parts. So they also, as I say, they also do the air wing, which I think was $21, and they do the all the deck equipment as well, the cranes and tugs and everything, and that's $16. So get all the lot together, it's $4.50 postage for the lot. So you can see there's the screenshot of all the photo etch and everything there. You can see here what I'll put this closer to the camera, and then you can freeze it and have a read, and that's what you're actually getting in the set. It's all that there. Okay, so you can freeze that and have a look. So in the instructions here, you're building up the frigate radar mounting. This is the thing. What's a frigate? You know, it doesn't sort of show you like with Edward. They show you replacing. You know, they tell you to replace plastic part E6 or whatever. These just build up. So this goes together like that, and then you've got kit part A21, which you've got to do a lot of cleanup on because all this is moulded on there. You cut all that off, and then this goes on. And they give you very detailed instructions on how to do that. So that's your radar, which is sitting out at the top here. So that's your radar sitting out there. And then coming over the page, you've got these MR320 Topaz 2D radar, and there's 2 of those, I think. So I think there's 2 of those. When you look at part number 4, Part number 4. Where's part number 4? Where is it? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. There you go. Oh, there's 4 of them. Okay, so there's 4 of those. All right, you got part 28 there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. So you got a load of those. So you can see a lot of this is going to build up and really, really make a difference. You've got photo-etched antenna there instead of the plastic rods, and that's that big round thing on the top there with all those dishes going around it, all those little bits and pieces sticking out. Looking very, very interesting. And then coming here, we've got, again, little bits sticking out the side of the superstructure, little bits and pieces, yard arms and antenna assemblies, VHF antenna, island aft antenna fittings. So you can see all this is going to look absolutely stunning. And then here you've got more radar bits and pieces. You're adding photo-etched to photo-etched there because you've got loads of those everywhere. And then here you're going to build your life raft canisters port and your life raft canisters starboard. Now it doesn't tell you how many there are, but as you can see from the photo etch, you've got all those along there and all those down there. They're all racks, and then these down here are racks as well. So yeah, very interesting. And then here you're going to cut the safety net off the front of the deck, and you can either have it up or down. Here's the crane with that rear part I mentioned earlier, vertical. You're going to cut out those discs and add these photo etch parts. You've got a piece of photo etch to add on there and the hook on the end as well. UDAV1 launcher fittings, so you've got some little photo etch bits to go on there. That's going to really dress them up nicely. Okay, we already looked at that. And then here we've got an area view of the deck. So you've got all the deck fitting locations. So we've got all the we've got some netting going around there. We've got some rafts going around there. We've got some railings here. And then here we've got the arrested wire guides. That's the bits I couldn't find on there. And then we've got all these bits going around the edge and the edge of the deck. There's deck edge rails to stop the planes rolling off. And then here we've got edge platforms, and they have to go on before those. So be careful before you fit your life rafts. You have to fit these little edge platforms there. And then coming over the page, we have general notes. Again, I'll hold that up so you can freeze frame it and have a look. There's basically loads in there that isn't shown in here. So there's quite a bit of work to do, and it all looks to me to be very, very worthwhile. The pages aren't numbered, so be careful. I've actually numbered the pages myself. But yeah, absolutely, I think it's worth every penny. It's really, really thin. White enzyme stuff is some of the best photo etching that ever existed. It really is very, very nice. And the instructions could be better. I will be honest, the instructions could be better, but there's enough in there to get you by. And those general instructions at the end here, this is just incredible. There's so much in there you wouldn't believe. That would be another 6 or 7 sheets if they had drawings. And you've got also general instructions down here as well. Do not remove etch parts from the fret until you're ready. Soak the etch parts in suitable solvent to degrease them. Cyanacrylate adhesive or contact adhesive such as white glue may be used. Place the fret on a hard surface when shaping, bending apart. A straight edge blade, a chisel blade will give a good sharp corner. It's suggested that rails are pre-measured where practical, using a pair of compass dividers and then tacked to the edge every 3rd or 4th stanchion with a small drop of glue. When a section is complete, run a thin line of glue along the inside edge to attach it firmly to the deck. So yeah, you've probably seen Kenneth do that over on Norwegian Modelling Bench, and basically, you know, a couple of tiny little dots every sort of 3rd or 4th stanchion, and then when it's all done, run some thin in behind and it'll capillary down beautifully. The bit I never understand with ship modelling is at what stage do you paint? At what stage do you actually paint those railings? But you can see how this comes delivered to you. It's beautifully packaged. It's in this cardboard, and then it's in a nice rigid envelope, just like so, securely taped. I've just had one arrive today, another set I ordered. So there we go. So there we are. So that's been the Kuznetsov 8th Creaft carrier, and beautiful model, I think. Very, very simple. So if you want to build yourself a big aircraft carrier, you know, I think it's a good starting point because it's a very pretty ship. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea as far as subject matter goes, but I believe it's a very pretty ship. And, you know, it's a fairly simple build, when you compare it to some of the others. So there we are. Thank you for watching. I will see you all soon. Bye for now.